Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin Bubble News channel. Yes, that's the only way out. There isn't an easy way out. The other way is that you need to insult the time and energy of everyone who drives to work every day. Take a look at it. In other words, why do people marry later in life? Why aren't as many people having kids? Why aren't as many people having homes? Because getting the sort of life we want takes more time and work. Since they're devaluing our money, they're also devaluing the time and energy that we use to make the world whole on the balance sheet, right? On the ratio of world debt to world GDP. So I think they're going to debase the currency. By the way, we both agree that they can't touch Bitcoin or gold, right? They can't put these down. So it's a way to keep your time and spirit safe. Earlier this year, Jack Mears, founder and CEO of Striking, said on social media that he owned USR and was all in on Bitcoin. The post got over 12,000 likes and 1 million views. Jack bought Bitcoin when he realized that foreign currencies like the dollar would always lose value, which would make extra money more expensive. I no longer have US dollars because making money and spending too much on people caused huge inflation. Nunn, the CEO of the strike, wrote, "As an American millennial, I love my country, but I'm against our money. I'm all in on selling Bitcoin for life or death. It's more important than ever to stand up. Wasteland because printing money has led to hyperinflation of money and assets and unrest. As the value of the dollar drops, U.S. citizens store their money in real estate and stocks, which leads to asset inflation and huge wealth creation. Gap printing helps people who own assets but hurts people who don't." Oxfam says that of the $42 trillion in new wealth created since 2020, $6 trillion or 63% went to the richest 1%. At the same time, the pandemic's huge printing of money made wealth inequality worse. Mueller said that in 2021, the richest 10% of people in the U.S. owned 70% of the country's net worth, which made a huge number of people very angry. Money makes us part. In a new interview with Daniela Kamen on the ITM Trading YouTube page, Mears talks about putting all of his money into Bitcoin, Bitcoin ETFs, and gold. Thanks and have fun with the movie. For more, subscribe to the channel and turn on post alerts. Right now, things are really strange because rates have been raised faster than they ever have been before and they have stayed high. It's now the Fed's turn to scare the markets and say rates will stay higher for longer, even though I don't think it matters. Clearly, it leads to inflation. This is true for the stock market, gold, the real estate index, and Bitcoin. All of them have double-digit gains year over year. In this case, it's still clearly stimulating. It is still clearly inflationary. Interest rates are the cost of money, and I think they can be hard to understand. What about the amount of money, though? They're still interesting. They're still making money. That's why I don't think what the Fed does matters. All of it is stimulating. As it turns out, my favorite measure is world debt to GDP because I think it tells the story very clearly. The way I see it, money is just our time and energy in a more general form. Our time and energy are something we can buy or sell on the market. The ratio of global debt to GDP tells me that governments around the world have taken a huge amount of our time and energy without any growth to repay the debt. Someone has to feel that loss somewhere. Okay, where are you going to feel that loss? They can do two things. This means that either the people who gave them money or time will not get it back. These people own the bonds, the banks, and all the money in the world. If they don't do something, they'll debase the currency of the average person and take their time and energy. That's what we mean by inflation. It doesn't matter to me what the Fed does because rates will stay high for longer. We're going to cut. All of it is dangerous nonsense. All of this is very diverting. It's that there has to be a loss somewhere. It will either be enough for the banks to fail, causing the bond market and the sovereign debt market to go to zero, or they will debase and inflate the currency to get out of the mess. Either way, they will take time and energy away from the people to fix what was a terrible mistake in government and fiat currency. If I were to take over the United States and be in charge of everything, I would cause the banks to fail. We're going back to 2008, you see. They could have let the banks fail if they wanted to, which is what I meant. People around the world learned they don't care about the value of the dollar in 2008 or 2009. This is when de-dollarization began. They helped those guys out so they don't care about protecting the people who own shares in this dollar network. That's the only way to do it. The truth is that there is no easy way out. The other way is that you need to insult the time and energy of everyone who drives to work every day. Take a look at it. In other words, why do people marry later in life? Why aren't as many people having kids? Why aren't as many people having homes? They're lowering the value of our money because it takes more time and work to live the life we want. If they want to make themselves whole, they're taking away the value of the time and energy we put into the world, as shown in the global debt to GDP ratio. So I think they're going to debase the currency. By the way, we both agree that they can't touch Bitcoin or gold, right? They can't put these down. I think it's a way to protect your time and energy, which is why these investments probably do very well. In his posts, Jack said that if we don't use the US dollar, we need to refuse to pay for useless wars, asset inflation that only helps the rich, and a society that is sad, angry, and in debt. He also said he picked Bitcoin because it is the best example of fiat debasement instead of printing money all the time, since there is a fixed amount of Bitcoin that can never be made more. Jack also said that Bitcoin stands for freedom, fair play, and a free market economy. He said that the United States was founded on the ideas of freedom, growth, and innovation. Let's look at the numbers from the last 5 years, says one of the last posts in the thread. The cost of housing went up by 60% if you saved in dollars. It cost 59% more to buy oil and 29% more to buy food. But homes got 81% cheaper if you saved in Bitcoin. 79% less oil was sold, and food cost 83% less while he was talking to Danella. He talked about spot Bitcoin ETFs, the dangers of centralization, and how, unlike gold, Bitcoin is still the hardest object in the world. Here are some more interview clips. They probably want to let it go, but Janet Yellen really likes it when the dollar falls. In other words, how is she going to pay all of this back? But I think they'll say, we don't care to care, we're not going to pay the loan back. Take it easy. So who is truly aware of the loss? Someone needs to understand what a real loss is. There's no simple way out. For this reason, I like the term abstracted money. Money isn't just a piece of paper that people can make. Every day I give up my time and energy to work for something we call money. The real question is, who is feeling the loss? Also, if it's just going to keep going, the banks that have given out all these loans over the years may not get their money back. These banks are funded by the world's richest people. For instance, the bond market is going through the roof right now. It's becoming clear to everyone who owns bonds that they got a bad deal from the US government. This is a terrible mess. This is a mess. Why is there a Bitcoin ETF? Because people want to use their money in other ways to get real results. So if things keep going the way they are, investors might have to face the loss. But the game is who knows they've lost. So that's why we look into the idea of what money is and where to put it, which means where to store our time and energy. Yes, I like that way of thinking about it. But it doesn't make sense to think that there is a loss that won't happen. That's language used in politics. They want you to think that. We use money in society, and this is a great example of why. We don't have to trade our jobs for someone else's because of money. We can become very focused on our own jobs and not worry about what other people think. They can be traded for money, which can then be used in a market. That is what made it possible for billions of people to join the economy, for the economy to become digital, and for the economy to appear on the internet. It's also not